Anyways, I don't know if we were just really on a roll there, or we were just hoping for a segue to just appear in front of us.
Yeah. And I thought we were going to get there. Even looking through my notes, I can't find anything that would tie together anything that we already talked about.
It doesn't matter. We don't need a segue to talk about what we're going to talk about.
Speaking of animals, let's talk about topiaries.
Let's talk about topiaries.
I found one.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Karina.
I'm Clark.
And welcome to It's Always Spooky.
Yep.
It's always spooky.
So today's going to be a fun one. Not that they aren't always fun. It's wonderful.
They're always fun.
This is a great time. Everybody should enjoy this. It's the best podcast ever. But today we're going to cover not my favorite horror movie, but definitely within my top 3 favorite horror books, The Shining.
Yes. For the movie, it's going to be 1980's The Shining by the late Stanley Kubrick.
And then for the book, it is 1977, I believe. Let me double check. I think the first print came out in 78, but the copyright's for 77.
Oh, that's fine.
I actually, Nick and I were on vacation this last weekend, and we went into a bookstore in Friday Harbor. No, it was in Anacortes. And my goal for this trip, I told myself before we left, I was like, okay, if I find a special edition version of The Shining and it's under $200, I'll buy it for myself.
Sure.
And I didn't find any special editions, but we went into the store and we grabbed coffee and I was looking around and I did see a really old print of it. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen this cover before. I'll just like grab that.
Yeah.
It was $4.50. Like it was originally, I looked at like the original price and it was $2.
Oh.
And so I like took it up to the front and bought it. And then when I got into the car, I looked it up and it's first print. It's not in great condition. Like it's definitely got some notches taken out of it. The pages are very yellowed. Like it's.
Does it smell like old book?
It smells like old book.
Yeah. It's the best part, man.
Yeah. So it's like that size that all books from the 80s were, and it's so good. It feels
awesome.
good. It smells good. Yeah.
It's perfection, and that's what you've been reading.
Yeah.
Out of at least for the most part, because you said. You have The Shining on every medium.
I do. Yeah. I've been listening to it to go to bed. Before I start listening to it to go to bed, though, I'm reading from that copy of the book. And then at work, I'm reading it on my e-reader.
You have it pulled up right now.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, nice.
You know, say what you'll say about Stephen King, and you're probably right. But this is one of those books. I can't remember whether this is my 4th or my 5th read through. But it's one of those ones that every single time I read it, I feel like I find something new.
Yeah.
And I find another reason to appreciate it because he really did the damn thing with this book.
With that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me super fucking excited to cover it because like if he did the damn thing with this book and it's only 400 pages
and it came out before I'm pretty sure.
Yeah and it came out before it, then the 1,000 pages that it is has to have some good shit.
Yeah. How many pages is The Shining?
I think the original print is like 440. The Kindle version of it with the font size that I have
Slightly different.
662.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That is hilarious in comparison to it.
Yeah. I do love that, like, you know, Stephen King's not my favorite author. This is one of my favorite books. He's not my favorite author. I wouldn't say I like a lot of his things, but we've already covered a few, and we're going to keep going with it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, say what you will about him, but he is the most prolific horror writer. Of our generation.
He's and generations before us too. I
True.
mean, yeah, he's literally been writing for decades, and he's known as like the face of horror.
Yeah.
When you think about like horror books,
I found a spreadsheet that is all of the works of Stephen King in chronological order for his universe.
Yeah.
And it's short stories, novellas, novels, children's books and screenplays.
Wow.
And there was like one other category. And it's 201 items.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, to think that I think he was born in like 45 or something like that. To think that he's written that many things.
Yeah, he's just really, really into it.
That's fucking nuts. That is
And they're
nuts.
not like easily digestible things either. Like I've read a lot of King and they're hard to read.
Now I have to look up when he was actually born real quick.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll do some more metadata stuff here. So for specifically the 1980s movie, the director is Stanley Kubrick. It does credit Stephen King as a writer, but I think that's just an homage to the book. It's also has Stanley as one of the writers, as well as Diane Johnson. Stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd. It's also Danny Lloyd's first and only film, I'm pretty sure. And I noticed that the tagline in this is just a masterpiece of modern horror. And the title card. Sorry, the title card for this is kind of interesting. It's just like a rolling font. It's kind of going up, from the bottom to the top, and it's just all of the different actors' names, and then it's just The Shining. Like there's no real pause on it or anything like that. It's almost like a PowerPoint or like the beginning of like a Star Wars movie.
It looks like it was made in like Windows Movie Maker.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very simple. So it looks like the budget for this was an estimated $19 million. Opening weekend, which was May 26th, 1980, made about $622,000 on a $19 million budget.
Damn.
And then its gross and worldwide looks like about $47 million.
Kubrick knew how to spend some damn money.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic movie, though.
It is.
Because they had to build that whole set on the inside, right?
Yeah, and they knew, like, first off, Kubrick was already popular.
Yes.
And Jack Nicholson was already popular. Mm-hmm. Like, they knew this was going to be a big movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they probably felt no matter what Kubrick asked for budget-wise, they were going to make it back.
Right.
He was born in 47.
Oh,
I thought 45.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, 201 works since 1947. So
right, that are published too, right? Right, because he probably didn't start publishing until he was probably in his 20s?
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe even later than that, because like people don't immediately get famous and popular.
No.
Do you want to do themes?
Yeah.
Or no, we have to do our well, it doesn't matter, but we could do our recap.
Yeah. I'm actually going to preface all of this just by saying that we're going to be primarily centered on the movie for this episode. I did just finish rereading the book, but if we get into all of the differences between the book and the movie, if we get into all of the lore in the book, all of the lore in the movie, this is going to end up being like a 10-part episode just by itself. Right. So we're going to focus primarily on the movie. I'll weigh in with some of the stuff from the book as well, but that just kind of like lays some groundwork at least.
It's preface.
It's a preface.
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess if I were to just kind of on the fly do like a brief spoiler-free synopsis, let's see. How do I want to say this? So Jack Torrance loses his teaching job due to some mishaps caused by an alcohol issue. Mm-hmm. And he is scrambling to find a way to be able to support his wife and his son. So a friend refers him for a position to be the winter caretaker for the Overlook Hotel. Mm-hmm. And this is the story of his family's winter staying in isolation.
Yeah, multiple month winter stay in isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're there from, I think the book says that they're there from like September to April. It's either September or October.
I think it's
to
October.
Like May or
it's
April.
Like October.
Or, sorry, March or April.
Yeah, it's October 30th is like the last day then everybody leaves. So it's October 30th until May 1st.
Yeah.
In the movie. Yeah, and I think all of the events in the movie take place probably over like 3 or 4 months, because it's kind of interesting where it kind of like the days kind of blur together, but there's definitely been weeks that have passed because all the snowfall kind of happens, and it will go through like different days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But then when you come on to the last like hour of the movie, it goes by time instead of by day. It goes like 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m.
Yeah, the last little bit of the movie, it's like the time frame references that they give and those like mile markers, I feel like are supposed to show you that like the dread is ramping up that much quicker.
Yeah.
And in the book, it's been building for a while.
Right.
It's a really slow burn
Right.
into this like really
like boiler
horrifying
Yeah,
situation.
like boiler room moment, right?
Yeah, boiler.
I see. I brought that up.
There we go. Segue. Should have been in the beginning.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's the story of Jack, Wendy, and Danny going up to the Overlook Hotel to spend the winter, and there's some mixed feelings on how they feel about being up there in isolation for that long. But ultimately, it's what they have to do to be able to support the family. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, Wendy has to go back to her mom's with Danny, and Wendy and her mom don't have a good relationship. And Jack has kind of fucked up every other opportunity that he has to have a career. So,
yeah, royally.
And it's explained a lot more in the book why Jack is in the situation that he's in.
Right.
Because they don't really go over much of why he lost his job in the movie, do they?
No. I think they just say that he lost his job. I don't even think it's because like of an incident that happened at school. Like I don't even know if it was just because of something that happened with Danny, but I think it was because it was something similar that happened in the book, right? Where he like assaulted a student.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more character development in the book. But he essentially had been having a little bit of an alcohol issue, an alcohol issue. And so, you know, when he is drunk, he's out having a good time with his friend Al Shockley, and they're doing stupid shit, driving drunk, being idiots. And a situation happens where they run over a bike in the middle of the night while they're both drunk driving. They run over a bike and they don't see a person anywhere, but they're also like, why is this bike in the middle of the road? And so that's kind of the like shock that like wakes them up out of their alcoholic rampage that they're having.
Sure.
Because they kind of have this feeling of like, well, where's the kid?
Did you launch them off and then ran over the bike?
Exactly. And so he ends up getting dry, but he has a student in his class. He's currently a professor, an English professor, at a preparatory school. And he has a student in his class who has just kind of had like his entire life handed to him on a silver platter. He's from a wealthy family. His dad's a lawyer or something like that. And he's like really good at sports. He's a beautiful kid, that sort of thing. But even though he can get like full ride scholarships in sports and like do pretty much whatever he wants, his dad wants him to follow in his footsteps and still have like a career to fall back on.
Yeah.
And so he really wants to get onto the debate team. And Jack is the professor who also teaches the debate team. So this kid is really good at it. Like one of those people who's so well informed. He knows his argument. He knows the opposing argument. He knows all the holes that he can poke and everything. But he has a stutter whenever he steps up to actually do the thing. And it gets to a point where it's like hard for him to be able to participate. And it's hard for Jack to watch it. It's hard for the class to watch it, that sort of thing. And so a situation happens where they start a debate and it seems like the timer goes a little too quickly.
Got it.
When it's his turn. And he accuses Jack of putting the timer back 1 minute.
Giving him less time. Yeah.
And Jack says, like, I didn't put the timer back 1 minute. I didn't put the timer back 1 minute. And they argue. And then shortly after, Jack goes outside to go to his car he ends up kicking him off the debate team after that. Because he said he can't do it with a stutter. And shortly after, he like forgets a textbook in his car or something like that. And he goes out to grab it. and he comes out to that kid cutting his tires.
That's right. Yeah,
And
right.
before he knows it, he is like coming to with this kid's like bashed in face underneath him.
Jesus.
And he's like, another teacher is saying, you're going to kill him. And he's like, oh my God, like realizes what's going on
Yeah.
and like tries to get the kid help and everything. But then he ends up getting let go from his position.
Just let go, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just let go.
Yeah. In the book, the way that that scene plays out is really cool too, because he starts off with saying like, I didn't set the clock back a minute. I didn't do it. I understand why you're mad.
Right.
And he's trying really hard to like level with this kid. And his internal dialogue goes from like, I didn't set the clock back. I didn't do that. Maybe I did, but it was only a minute. And like, he starts to doubt himself.
Interesting.
And his like confidence starts to dissolve. And it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes to that kind of snap point, and then he like blacks out.
Yeah.
And then comes to when he realizes like, oh no, or something else to kind of like distracts him long enough that he's like, oh wait, I'm doing something horrible right now.
Yeah.
Like I've completely checked out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Were there any themes that we needed to touch on? I have madness, cabin fever, and abuse written down.
Ooh, I like those. The other ones that I had written down, at its core, this is a haunted house. Like,
Yeah.
like
The Overlook Hotel.
The Overlook Hotel. Yeah, it's a haunted house.
Haunted houses.
Haunted houses. Yeah. Truly, actually, the Overlook Hotel is like its own being. I don't even think I can consider it a haunted house because it would have to be like haunted by something.
Right.
To be
Is
a
it
haunted
kind
house.
of like a haunting situation? Like, did you watch The Haunting?
Yeah.
It was like about the Hill House.
Yeah.
That like was inhabited by like an evil man, and like his spirit like inhabits the house. It almost seems like that, or like a monster house situation.
Yeah, kind of.
Or is it more of like an Oculus situation but instead of it being a mirror, it's the whole hotel?
I would say it's almost both. Yeah. The hotel itself is almost like a creature in and of its own being.
Right.
But then it's also had a lot of really tragic deaths happen.
Right.
Over and over and over again. So
Right.
it's like haunted and it is the haunt.
Got it.
At the same
No,
time.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because that was kind of the delineation I was looking for. Was like, is it like a creature, or is it like a collection of trauma and spirits that enacts like revenge and things like that?
And I think a lot of what King does in the book is he tries to kind of blur the lines between the two of those things.
Yeah.
Because there's even a line, I wrote it down, where he writes, inside its shell, the three of them went about their early evening routine like microbes trapped in the intestine of a monster. And he's like labeling the hotel as a monster.
As a monster. Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
A couple other themes that I had written down: alcoholism.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Even in the book, the way that it's written, I'm somebody who like I've struggled with alcohol issues before, and seeing the way that his train of thought works, it's too real.
Yeah.
In certain points.
Triggering a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And then the other one, and this is going to tie into future episodes that we're going to have, so this is more of a theme for us.
Sure.
And it's The Shine. Because The Shine is prevalent in a lot of Stephen King's works in one way or another.
Yep.
So we're going to touch on it again.
Yep, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's in it, all of the children have the shine. There's something about them that shines.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever use that terminology specifically, but that is something that like is kind of canon. Yeah, and I think that in the movie, alcoholism is a really good theme, because I found it interesting that you can find a lot more details every time you watch this film. And one of the details that I had noticed was when Wendy is talking to the doctor about Danny, she's talking about how Jack had that really bad incident where he injured Danny on accident, by disciplining him too hard. And when Wendy was talking about him injuring Danny, she was talking about how after that point he got sober. And she was like, and it's been like 5 months and he hasn't had any alcohol, right? And then fast forward to when he goes to the gold room And he says, God, I'd sell my soul for a glass of beer. And then the guy shows up and he gives him alcohol. And he, like, before he sends it back, he says, like, here's to the last 5 months that I've been on the wagon.
Yeah.
And that's what Wendy said, but it's been well over 5 months at this point, right? Mm-hmm. Which leads me to believe that, like, he never stopped drinking after he injured Danny. He only stopped drinking when they started staying at the hotel and there was no alcohol for him to drink.
That's one of the things that Kubrick did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that part, okay, I can't say that. I was going to say I don't know if that part's intentional, where it's like a timing mishap.
Yeah, right.
Because I truly believe that everything that Kubrick does is intentional. I don't like him, but I respect what he does.
Sure.
But in the book, Jack has very much been sober. I think it's a month after what he does to Danny.
Yeah.
He fully, like...
We don't drink.
And that's kind of what might
dry.
be interesting, too, is I don't know if it's continuity goof either, right, in the movie. But if we are saying that it was intentional, it leads more into this idea that we were talking about, how, like, in the movie, Jack is this fucking asshole, like abusive asshole. Like from the very beginning, he doesn't really seem like he cares or loves his wife or his son.
No.
He calls Wendy like a sperm bank at one point whenever he's just like chit-chatting with the guys or whatever. And I haven't read the book, but I've heard that in the book, he's much more like a very sympathetic character who is very much like dragged into darkness, is not already dark. You know what I mean? And in the movie, I feel like it's very contrasted. Like, from the beginning, I don't like Jack, and he seems very much like he almost brought his family there on purpose to murder them.
Yeah.
Right? Which is interesting because then you've got all of this kind of back and forth between him and like Delbert Grady, and like Delbert telling him like, maybe you don't have the stomach for it. Maybe you can't help us the way that we thought you could help us, and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, in the book, all three of the characters have a really substantial arc. In Jack's, you really do see him as just like this guy who, like, he was abused as a kid. He watched his entire family be abused, and his dad had an alcohol issue, and then he starts to have an alcohol issue, and he starts to, repeat that pattern.
Right.
And then he gets sober, and you read like the love that he has for his wife, and there's a lot of moments of them having like cutesy relationship stuff where they're even just like blatantly flirting with one another when they're like walking up the stairs and like that sort of stuff, like those really cute things that build that bond between them. To where when you start to get into chapter like 26 or 27, you have inklings of him starting to get into a weird spot before that, but that's when you can tell that like the switch has flipped. Yeah. And you've traveled along with him through this journey, and then all of a sudden you're just in this space that like the only thing I can think to describe it is just you're trapped in a dark hallway, and like that's all that your brain can do is think bad thoughts and keep going down this hallway of just darkness and terror, and at the end of it is the drink that you really want to have.
Interesting.
And there's so much more work to get to that point and everything. It's just so much better done in the book. And I wish that you could have a little bit of that character development in the movie so that you are a little bit more sympathetic to him. Because they do the same thing to Wendy, where like from the beginning of the movie, essentially Wendy's at 100. Yeah. She's like distressed. Yes. For the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. And we were talking about how it was as if Stanley expected people to read the book before they watched the movie and do all of the homework. But I also know that like King really didn't like this version because he felt that the portrayals of both Jack and Wendy were like the complete opposite of what he'd written. He wanted Jack to be a sympathetic man who was damaged and definitely like did bad things, but also was kind of fell on hard times and didn't necessarily have good reasons to do what he did, but like you could trail back those threads by just seeing what things he had seen in his past. And on the contrary, you had Wendy, who instead of being this kind of like already high-strung body that she was in the movie, you had somebody who was like how did he describe her? Like a cheerleader, somebody who
Yeah.
had never experienced really any hardship in their life and wouldn't be prepared for the kind of abuse that she suffered in the movie or the book.
Yeah, because in the book, Wendy, like, she has a really horrible relationship with her mom, but that's a good majority of the discussion that they have about her past. But she, in the book, she is a devoted, loving mother and wife.
Yeah.
And she has a really heartfelt approach to like everything throughout this, and she's Jack's biggest cheerleader. Like,
Yeah.
she wants him to be there so that he can do this job, but more importantly, he can get back to his writing and make this play that he's been working on for all these years. And she has a tinge of jealousy because in the book, Jack and Danny have a bond that is just beyond anything that she feels like she gets from Danny.
I'd do anything for him. Any fucking thing.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because in the movie, like, I felt like in the movie, they did a really good job of, like, Wendy and Danny's relationship.
Yeah.
They have a lot of, like, intimate moments where they're spending quality time together. And even when Wendy tries to, like, get Jack to be involved, she doesn't do it in the best approach of, like, hey, why don't you eat your breakfast and then take me on a walk afterwards? Like, she could have approached it in a different manner than that. But it was just like immediately shut down. Like, that's not what Jack was there for. Like, he was there to write his book, and like there was no room for spending any kind of quality time with his family. And I found myself quite a few times while I was watching it thinking in Wendy's shoes of, okay, my husband doesn't, it's very obvious like he doesn't want me around, and that my presence is like making him more angry. And so in my brain, I was thinking like, just devote all of that energy that you want him to be there for into Danny, and just build this bond and this relationship, because that's the only thing that you have control of, and something that is really special, that like at least you guys get that time together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I find it interesting that then in the book, like, it's Danny and Jack that have the closer bond.
And it's even like there's a few situations where Jack doesn't harm Danny or anything like that, but he like lashes out at him and is like very direct or very stern in a situation where there's already heightened emotion, or also in situations where it's just very benign up until he lashes out.
Sure.
And immediately Danny forgives him every single time.
Sure.
Like, no matter what, Jack can do no wrong to Danny.
Got it.
And
But then in the book, in the movie, Danny's like terrified of Jack.
yeah.
He doesn't want to be around him for any period or length of time, and they never show anything different.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange.
He straight up like yells in Danny's face at one point in the book, and then Danny just like turns around and hugs him. That bond is like something
Wow.
totally, yeah. It's really, it's a much different experience for sure.
Wow. All right then. Well,
Yeah.
shall we talk about our favorite scenes? Should we get into it?
Yeah. I'll have you go first if that's cool.
That's fine with me.
'cause,
I mean,
I still gotta remember which ones from the movie are gonna be
your
my
favorite,
favorites.
yeah, and scariest. Let me see here. So for my favorites, I have it written down here, so I'm going to make sure I don't have any for favorite honorable mentions. I do. I briefly mentioned this earlier, but I really liked Wendy talking to the doctor with Danny, and she's describing Danny's abuse at Jack's hands like it's any old story. Like it's just some other piece of gossip that she's talking about, and how dismissive she is of Jack's like abuse. I just found it was just a really well acted scene.
Yeah.
And definitely something that I have seen other people do before in my own life, is like downplay abuse and sugarcoat it so that it doesn't seem like that bad, or you're almost explaining it away by being like, oh, well, you know, the kid was acting up, so it was an accident, an honest mistake, you know.
Yeah.
That was definitely an honorable mention in there.
A little addition to that.
Please.
in the book, when that conversation happens, I don't remember in the movie if they explicitly say this, but in the book, Jack admits in that moment, no, I meant to do it. She kind of tries to play it off as like, oh, he was drinking, it was an accident, and he was like, no, I meant to do it. I hurt him. I meant to pull him, and that's what happened.
Absolutely.
And like, he's taking ownership for it, even if she's not necessarily making him.
That's interesting, because in the movie, he also does that too. He's talking to the bartender the second time, and he's talking about the same incident, but he does it in the vein of, I just come home from a long day, and I came in and like he had thrown my papers all over the room, and so I just pulled him up. I just wanted to get him off of that stuff, and what I was just doing, he basically explained it the same way that Wendy did, where he was just like a few extra foot-pounds, just a little bit. I just tugged him a little too hard, and didn't mean to, like, but I hurt him, I guess, and I guess I had to lose my job for that or whatever. Like it seemed very much like he was admitting that, yes, he did it on purpose. Like, his intention was to pull him up, even if his intention wasn't to dislocate his shoulder. But it was still very much a, like, I didn't mean to, therefore I don't deserve to be villainized for it, if that makes sense. Like, yes, I meant to pull him. I didn't mean to injure him, so I don't know what the big deal is. Like, that's what I got from that interpretation.
Yeah. I would say, in the movie rendition, they very much so don't ever have Jack really actually assume responsibility for it.
No.
Like, like he does in that light sort of way, but like he I guess he takes ownership of the action, but he doesn't think he deserves the outcome. Yeah. And in the book, he's like, I fucked up. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking too that, like, everything in the movie's perspective, Jack seemed very much like his family were causing him to do the things that he was doing. Like, they were being annoying, and they were like nagging him, and they were like distracting him while he was working, and like all of these different things. Like, they could always do wrong. Yeah. They literally couldn't do right, because if they, were within his eyesight or earshot, like, they were causing a problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The other honorable mention that I had in here that I wanted to bring up was I really liked Danny and Dick Halloran. Yeah. Their first meeting in the storeroom. Like, I really liked that moment in the movie when Danny kind of trails behind Dick's showing Wendy, oh, you got this, and you got sweet potatoes, and you got blah, 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 and you go what? And then it kind of like you hear this high-pitched, like, tinny sound to kind of simulate that Danny is like, his shine is working. And Dick kind of looks over at him and kind of like talks to him about like ice cream. Like, do you like ice cream, Doc? And then afterwards they go and they have a conversation and they have ice cream. And I really liked that specific meeting of them having ice cream and talking, where Dick is talking about how, like, I used to talk to my grandmother, but we never said anything. We just used to talk with our minds. And I didn't know that we were the only people who could do that. Like, that we weren't the only people who could do that until I started meeting other people that could do that. And he says, just like you, I bet you didn't think anybody else could do it either. And I just really liked it because there's a moment where I think he asks Danny, like, think about it. Like, why don't you want to talk to me? Like, think really hard about, like, if anyone told you about if you needed to stay away from here. And later on in that conversation, Danny asks Dick questions like, what's wrong about room 237? Like, is there something bad in there? And you see Dick just be like, nothing. Like, don't worry about it. Like, don't ask me about that. And I liked that scene because there was no hand holding. No. You just understood that, like, they were having communication in their brains, and I liked that.
It's a really cool scene, both in the book and in the movie.
Oh, I want to hear the book comparison.
So in the book, they end up having the conversation about the shine, in Dick's car as he's about to leave for the season. Danny goes into the car with him, and they're talking a little bit, and he says something along the lines of like, yeah, I used to think that my grandma and I were the only ones. And then I started meeting more people. And, you know, a lot of people have like a little bit of shine to them. You'll meet them occasionally, but nobody shines like you do, Danny. And he's like, why don't you throw it at me? And they're in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, think really hard and like think at me. And so Danny says something like, hi, Dick, or something like that. He like thinks it and like throws it out at him. And Dick's head actually like snaps back and he like reacts. And Danny was like, I'm sorry, did I hurt you? And he was like, at the end I got scared, so I like held back a little bit. And Dick was like, well, thank God you did, because otherwise I might have like brains coming out of me or something along those lines. But they start talking about the hotel, and Danny asks the question about, is there something that I should be scared of? And he's like, I've seen a couple things in a couple spots, but you just have to remember that, he says it's like a picture from the past.
Yeah.
And it can't harm you. It's not there. If you just look away and look back, it'll be gone. Nothing here is going to be able to hurt you. But if you get to a point that you're scared, or, you know, you feel like you need help, if you think the way that you just did, I'll hear it in Florida.
Right. I'll come and I'll help you. And I think even Tony says that in the movie, where like Danny gets scared at one point and Tony tells him like, just remember, Danny, it's just like pictures in a book.
Yeah.
So I bet you that was from the book, like the homage to the book.
I really wish that they would show Tony the way that they show Tony in the book, because it's just kind of like he uses his finger to like articulate Tony. In the book, Danny almost goes into like a hypnotic state in a way, and then he sees Tony really far away from him. And sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. He can't really ask him to show up anymore. He used to be able to, not so much now.
Does he ever use the same dialogue of like, Tony's the little boy that lives in my mouth?
I think he does say it at one point.
I was just curious because I had heard some people were theorizing that it gives more credence to the like sexual abuse theory. But if again, like, in that sexual abuse didn't happen in the book, didn't really happen in the movie either. It's like not even foreshadowed. But
I don't think they say anything about him being in his mouth.
Yeah,
it's
book. Always like a far off figure.
Yeah, he's always just kind of like a weird shadow off in the distance.
That's super creepy.
Yeah,
I fucking hate that shit.
In the very beginning of the book, Jack goes to go to his interview and then accept the position, and then he's coming back, and Wendy's a little worried that he's not going to make it or the bug's going to break down.
Yep.
And Danny's like, no, don't worry, the bug's going to make it. And then he goes and sits on the curb. And
he waits. Yeah.
He waits.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
He ends up going into one of those trance situations, and he sees Tony like at the end of the block at the stop sign. And he says something along the lines of, he got the job and, you know, you're going to move out there. And he like slowly gets a little closer. And then once Danny comes to, he's gone.
Yeah.
And it's always those just like weird little hypnotic situations. And then he's just really far off. And
interesting.
Yeah. I wish they would have depicted that in the movie, because it's so much more eerie than just like the
little finger. Yeah.
The red rum.
That was the last honorable mention that I had. So my favorite scene in this, not my scariest scene, but definitely my favorite, was Jack's nightmare in Danny's room 237 scene.
Yeah.
It kind of starts with Danny playing on the floor with his trucks, and then he sees like a little tennis ball roll up to him, and he gets up and he kind of walks, and he sees that room 237. All of these hotel rooms are closed. Like they're all closed up. I'm pretty sure they're locked too. But this room, the key's in the door and it's open, ajar, to where you can just see inside of it. And you just see Danny just slowly walk into it. I don't even think you see the door close. You just watch him walk into the room. And then it cuts to Wendy, and she's like in the basement down like by the boiler. She's just doing like chores and stuff. And she starts to hear like Jack having a nightmare. upstairs, and he starts to get like more frantic, and he's screaming in his sleep. And so she's like running through this empty hotel trying to get to him, and she finally gets to his office, and he's like horrifically screaming, but he's still very much asleep. And when she wakes him up, he has this great moment where he gets so scared he falls off of the chair onto the floor. And she asks him what's wrong, and he says, I had this horrible nightmare that I murdered you and Danny, and I didn't just murder you, I cut you up into little pieces. And poor Wendy is terrified, but she's trying to console him, like, oh my God, well, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, let me console the person who wants to murder me.
Tap, tap, tap. Yeah, it's prayers, sorrows.
Yeah.
And she sees from across this super long, this gigantic office, probably like 50, 60 feet away, she sees little Danny start to walk into the room. And I like this moment where Danny's slowly walking, right? And Wendy, she's like, oh, Danny, Dad just has a headache. Like, go upstairs and go play, and I'll be there in a second. He's still walking, and she's like, Danny, like, please mind me. Like, I'm trying to help your dad out. And she looks at Jack, and she says, I'm just gonna go pick him up and like take him upstairs, and I'll be right back. And she's initially kind of like sing-songy, like trotting over to Danny, like, Danny, like, I told you to do something for me. And then she notices the state that poor little Danny is in, where he's like catatonic. He's like sucking on his thumb. His knitted sweater is ripped and like torn at the top. And he's like got handprint strangulation marks on his neck. And so she goes from like this sing-songy to this mortified, like, oh my fucking God, what happened? And she's trying to get him to talk, but he won't tell her. And so she picks him up, and she's like, she just slowly looks at Jack, and it kind of like the camera angle changes to where it's behind his shoulder. And she says, you did this. Like, why would you do this? Like, you're a monster. And she picks him up, and she runs out of the room, and it ends with just Jack's face just sitting in the chair. And he just says like, no, I didn't. And then that's just the end of the scene.
Yeah.
It's gold.
For the movie, I'm going to say that's probably my favorite scene too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's actually one of my favorite scenes. It's tied with one other one for the book.
Okay.
And it's so much different in the book too. So in the book, Jack is currently, he's downstairs rifling through papers because he's looking for some more details about the Overlook, because he's decided he's going to write a book about it, right?
Got it.
And
of course.
so he's down, like, there's a bunch of boxes of like old receipts and records and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's also this scrapbook that he found that somebody had made where it talks about kind of the more sordid details of the hotel and how many different hands it had changed through, including like mafia hands and like that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And talks about like mass murders that happen in the hotel and that sort of stuff. And so he's down there gathering more information. Meanwhile, Danny and Wendy are supposed to be together, mm-hmm. and Danny, I believe, is supposed to be reading one of his books that's helping him like get up to grade level reading. And Wendy is knitting. And when it's from her perspective, it says something like, knitting always makes me really tired, like that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So she ends up falling asleep. Mm-hmm. Jack ends up falling asleep going through these papers, and he comes to in the office. So up a level or two, he comes to in the office, and through the CB radio, he's hearing his dad. And his dad is telling him to murder his family.
Oh, interesting.
And so his dad's like saying all these things, and he is kind of in like a little bit of a daze with it. Mm-hmm. And then he's suddenly like, you're not here, you're dead. And he like picks up the radio and smashes it.
Yeah.
And the book is very blatant about saying that that's one of the only connections they had left to the outside world.
And instead of doing it on purpose like he did in the movie, it was out of like a delusion.
Yeah. It was out of a delusion. And so while that's happening, while Wendy's asleep, Danny just shows up at room 217, which it's 217 in the book.
Yeah, sure. But it's the same room.
And it's the same room.
Yeah.
And the way that it's written is so cool, because he's like, I'm here at this room. And then he's like, I go to or he like tries the door and of course it's locked. And he was like, oh, but of course the pass is in my pocket. And it just like appears there.
Wow.
He didn't actually like go grab it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, of course it's in my pocket.
He's like playing pretend, but
Yeah.
it actually happens.
Yeah. And so he just like pulls it out of his pocket and unlocks the door and walks in. And I can't remember whether he says that he meant to close the door behind him
Or
whether it
closed.
just closed behind him. But then that whole situation happens with the lady in the tub. And he tries to run out and he ends up like he gets blocked by the door essentially.
Yeah.
And later on admits that he like didn't even try to open it. He couldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So when Jack throws down the radio, Wendy's in the room right below him. So she wakes up and goes up and she says something along the lines of like, well, isn't Danny with you? And he's like,
No, I thought.
well, he's supposed to be with you.
Right.
Did you fall asleep? And she like admits that she had. And at this point, the hotel has already started to get to him a little bit and he's starting to get short with his family and everything.
Sure.
And so they're kind of like arguing a little bit and then they run to go find him.
Yeah.
I think he might make a noise or something like that. And they like run to go find him and they find him and he has those marks on his neck and he's in like a total trance. He's like, the lights are on and no one's home. And she picks him up and she is immediately like, how could you do this? And he says something to the effect of like, every day for the rest of my life, if something happens, you're going to think that I broke his arm.
Yeah.
And like ties it right to that. Where
Yeah.
like, no matter what, this will always be my fault. And Danny ends up coming too. And he says something like, she did it. And Jack takes that as Wendy did it. So then he was like, so what'd you do?
Yeah.
And they end up coming together and Wendy's like, Jack, I promise I didn't do it. And he was like, I wouldn't for a second think that you would do it.
Yeah.
And he's very kind about it in that section. I think he says something to the effect of like, she would douse herself in gasoline and light a match before she would hurt her son.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, the lady in 217 did it. And then that's what spawns him being like, well, I got to go check it out. And
I'm the caretaker.
Yeah,
I
I'm
gotta
the
know.
caretaker. I have to do this. And she's like, you're not going to leave us here. And Danny is like, don't worry. He doesn't have the shine. It's not going to hurt him. And Wendy's like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a hard time not running on with those scenes because it's so cool in the book.
Yeah.
But like that is easily like hands down one of my favorite scenes.
Hell yeah.
Since that's tied to the other one, an honorable mention is there's a topiary scene in the book that everybody should read. It is so well written. It is one of those, there's too many things to focus on at once. And when you're not focusing on one thing, another thing's moving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Oh, that sounds so creepy.
And then there's a scene prior to that where Jack is going up on the roof to fix a bunch of shingles that they want him to fix before the weather gets bad. And when he's up there, he finds a wasp nest and he gets stung. And he's like, oh, well, I got to go get a bug bomb and like bomb the wasp nest. And he's like, oh, and then I can pull it down and like shake the dead stuff out. And then Danny can have it because I used to have one on my nightstand. And he's like, that could be a cool thing. And so he does that and he like brings it to Danny and they're like, look at this cool thing. And Danny puts it on his nightstand. And then they wake up in the middle of the night to wasps all over the room that Danny's in. And he's getting stung over and over and over again. And Jack like runs and puts a bowl over it so that they're all trapped in there. But he's like, I swear, like I bombed it. I shook dead bodies out of it. Like they were gone.
Yeah.
And when they go back in, the bowl is full of wasps. Yeah. They end up like having to deal with that whole situation.
Interesting.
But the wasp scene is really cool.
Wow.
It's really well done.
Oh my God. That sounds so terrifying.
Those are my honorable mentions. The other one that's tied for best or tied for my favorite scene is the very first time that he meets Lloyd the bartender. For a lot of the same reasons that it's a cool scene in the movie.
Yeah.
But the way that it's written in the book, Jack is like acting both parts sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, blah, 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 line up 20 martinis, one for whatever. it's bullshit. It's like one for every week that I've been clean or something like that. And then one for the road. But he's like very obviously like trying to act out both parts. And then somehow it switches to where Lloyd is actually there. And you can't tell anymore that this is imagination. And it kind of like switches back and forth between the two in such a really cool way.
So that you can't really tell if like he's hallucinating or if it's actually happening. Yeah,
you can't really tell if Jack is still playing the part of Lloyd or if Lloyd's there.
That's crazy. To be able to do that in like a book format is incredible.
Yeah. This book also, just as like a little aside, this is the first book I've had ever read where it goes through like exposition, and then there's a thought right in the middle of a sentence that like breaks apart the paragraph, and you have to kind of like read the thought because that interjection is actually bringing you into the dread that's happening, and then go back, finish the sentence at the top and connect it at the bottom, and it's like you get the fractured thinking that they're having in the book.
Absolutely.
And it's so cool.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
What was your scariest
scenes? So homage or honorable mentions. My honorable mention for this is definitely when Wendy leaves to go confront Jack, and she's hanging out with Danny and they're watching cartoons. And what's interesting is that Danny actually, after the room 237 incident, he kind of like disappears, and Tony is like taken over Danny. And so like every time Wendy tries to talk to him, it's Tony, not Danny. So she's leaving Danny. She's like, okay, you just watch your cartoons.
I love that. Tony Danny.
And I'm going to go talk to Dad real quick. I'll be right back. And she does this really subtle thing where she watches Danny the whole time, Tony. And right before she leaves, she grabs the baseball bat from the other couch. And I just liked how subtle that body language was. And it immediately sets up and leads into the next scene of just like, oh no, she's going to go talk to Jack. Right? She's convinced at this point that he's dangerous and she's going to go take him out. So I liked that as an honorable mention. And then I have one other. Okay, so these two right here that I'm reading right now are like, they're fucking neck and neck tied. Like one is just really, really good, like acting, and the other one like truly is terrifying. So, okay. My other honorable mention is Jack's threat that he gives Wendy in the storeroom when after this scene, this like penultimate scene that I'm going to talk about happens, and she locks him in the locker and she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to take Danny. We're going to go to the doctor. We're going to take the snowcat. I'm going to bring a doctor back. And he just goes, yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, you better go look at that radio and go check out that snowcat. Yeah, you have fun. And just like how good that was, that moment of just her realizing what he means and just him just like having a blast giving her that news. Just like he knows that she's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And just that glee that he has was just fucking phenomenal.
It's so much scarier when somebody is happy about the chaos that they're causing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a chess move kind of situation where you're like in Wendy's perspective, you're like, I had to do this bad thing where I had to knock my husband out and I had to lock him in a storeroom for my safety, right? And now I need to get my young child out of here. I'm trying to do my best. I'll bring somebody back for him. And then just realizing that like you are so fucked.
Yeah.
Before you've even tried to get out and get away.
Yeah.
And just like the compounding realization when she actually goes out, checks the snowcat. I don't even think they show her checking the radio because it doesn't matter. We already know like that he's taken all of the stuff out of it.
Well, and he ends up in the book, he ends up telling her that he broke the radio.
Right. And at least in the book, right? Like he broke it in this fit of rage, kind of like rather than just like taking the pieces out of it.
And she also had kind of determined that Jack was dangerous when she saw the marks on Danny's neck, she took him and locked them in their bedroom.
Yes, yeah.
And Jack was like left upstairs. And then they end up coming together and having the conversation about, oh, it was the lady in 217.
Right.
But when they like flat out say the radio's gone, oh, so the only connection we have to the outside world now is the snowcat.
Yeah. And does he mess with the snowcat in the book?
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, I mean, my scariest scene, I think, for this movie is definitely when Wendy finds what Jack has been working on for the last 5 months.
Yeah.
And she finds his manuscript. One, I like her flipping through all of the pages and just realizing that, like, he hasn't been writing anything. He's just been slowly going crazy and just writing the same thing over and over again. I just have in all caps, all work and no play. But I also really like her scream when Jack finds her. Just like when he slowly appears in the background and then he just says, like, do you like it? And just her just like,
rip Shelley Duvall.
I actually cried. Like the first time it was just her and Scatman Carruthers like talking in a scene. I was just like, man, they were both so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh. I love when we have episodes like this where our favorites and our scaries line up really well.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty much my honorable mentions and scariest for the movie as well. The moment that she finds out that nothing productive has been happening at all. It's just him going nuts and them being victims to it.
Yep.
Is haunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. And just that, like, the scene that happens right after that where she knows he's crazy. She's got the baseball bat, right? She's now like, okay, I gotta get away from him. But he's also like, he's so intimidating and so terrifying that she almost like can't run. She has to like make sure that he is in front of her at all times. And so she's doing this like slowly backing up, trying to reason with him, trying to like come up with an exit strategy to get out. And it's very clear that like he's not leaving. He's not backing down. This is very much like, this is a fight he wants to engage in and he wants there to be conflict. And it's probably, if you've ever seen anything about The Shining, this is probably one of the scenes that sticks out the most. Besides the like, here's Johnny moment. It's just like this moment of him like slowly chasing her up the stairs as she's swinging a baseball bat at him. She's got the weapon, but like he's the dangerous one.
Yeah. Oh. And the funny thing too is in the movie, they make it out so much to be like Jack's the main character.
Right.
And he's maybe the third main character. Mm-hmm. Like, the main character is Danny.
Yeah.
The secondary is the hotel because the hotel is its own character.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jack.
And then Jack and Wendy.
Yeah. Are kind of like tied. Because Jack's a tool. He is only a means to an end for the hotel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I think we talked about that the last time that we had recorded this, right? That like I had felt like the hotel can't enact anything on its own. It has to use other people to enact violence or to like get it what it wants.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with Oculus too. It can't physically do anything in our world, so it has to find other vessels to do its work for it. But I am kind of curious how Jack got out of the storeroom. I've seen some theories where people are like, oh, there was a back door that nobody knew about, or, oh, Delbert Grady let him out, but I don't know how he could do that. I've even seen some theories where some people are saying that Danny let him out.
It might actually do this in the movie also. The ghost of Grady unlocks the freezer and Jack gets out.
Yeah, I know that Delbert comes and he talks to Jack at the storeroom, but I don't think in the movie you ever see it get unlocked.
Oh, okay.
You just see him get out. But I don't actually know. I don't know that for 100%.
Yeah, in the book, the ghost unlocks the door.
Got it.
And then he's able to get out.
So that's interesting to me because, like, there isn't anything in the movie that I remember saying that, like, the ghosts can't do, like, they can't do the damage themselves. That was just something that I had thought that kind of made sense. And like, oh, they just want the inhabitants to go crazy and kill their families. And then the hotel gets more power as a result.
One thing that I also want to point out is that while all of this is happening in the movie, Kubrick does a really good job of slowly increasing the amount of dread that you're feeling just atmospherically.
Sure.
In the book, there's something a lot more tangible that's happening too, because you're seeing Jack slowly lose his mind. You're seeing Danny start to almost kind of get like enveloped by the hotel. You're seeing Wendy trying to do everything that she can to like save her son and also save her husband. But there's all of these moving parts going on. And simultaneously, there's a boiler in the basement of the hotel that if they don't release the pressure will explode. And so there's a tangible increase of tension that's happening all throughout it.
Sure.
And in the final parts of the book, in Jack's redemption arc, because he has one in the book, he goes back in to try to release the boiler and save the day, and it explodes, essentially. And so there's that so much more tension there, and like it's palpable in the book.
Yeah, it's not just emotional. It's like there's actually a physical pressure that's being like built at the same time.
And like Jack never really feels like a good guy in the movie.
Never.
Even at the end, doesn't feel like he ever has a redemption.
No. No, he really doesn't. That's kind of like one of my biggest gripes about the movie, honestly, is just like, was Jack always supposed to be this massive douchebag that you weren't ever supposed to sympathize with? He didn't have any kind of redemption arc. You couldn't even say that like he was evil because of the hotel.
Yeah.
I felt like in the movie they portrayed him as being evil the entire time and just using the hotel as an opportunity to continue to be an asshole.
They're kind of a little bit muddied in my head. But you do definitely feel a little bit more positive about Jack at the end of the book. Well, because he's also trying to kill Danny at that point.
Like, I don't know. It's kind of a gray area.
It is. It's rough. Yeah. Let me look at it real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's essentially a final confrontation between Danny and like the creature that is the hotel. Yes. And Halloran has already showed up, and he's like guiding Danny and Wendy to safety. And Jack sacrifices himself to destroy the hotel. He like essentially allows the boiler to blow up.
Yeah.
And like assists in blowing up the boiler to kill himself and destroy the hotel so that the family can leave.
Yep.
So yeah, he goes from like trying to kill Danny to like a moment of sobriety,
of clarity.
From his possession.
Sure.
Sobriety, that's oddly appropriate. Has like a moment of clarity and like runs away to go kill himself.
Right, realizes probably in that same blackout moment when he was beating the shit out of that teenager and just been like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I can't, no, this isn't right. I'm going to go destroy this evil, including myself.
Yeah. It's so good. One day you gotta read this book.
I will.
So for me, for scariest scenes, a movie was pretty much the same. The book, there's an honorable mention that I have of there's a situation with a fire hose in the book that is not at all present in the movie. We still have little inklings of these moments as adults, but when you're a kid and you see something and it looks just a little off and it gives you like a weird, creepy feeling. It's almost like when you're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night and the light's off in the hallway and you feel like you have to kind of run down it because otherwise something's going to like reach out and grab you or like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So in the Overlook Hotel, there are chemical fire extinguishers that are down or that are in like the kitchen and that sort of thing. But on the wall throughout the hotel, there's essentially the precursor to having a sprinkler system where it's just like a hose that's hooked up to the main water supply. So if a fire were to break out, you can just spray it.
Mm-hmm.
When Danny looks at it, he sees a snake. Like, he's like, this is oddly snake shaped sort of thing. And so the first time that he's even like walking past, I believe, room 217, he notices it. And I think he like starts focusing on something else and then looks back, and it has like fallen off of the holder. And he's like, well, the nozzle kind of looks like a head, and like maybe it's full of wasps, because that's like after the wasp situation happens. And he's like, did I just see it move?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, it can't move, it's just a hose, and that sort of thing. And he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna like run and jump over it and go downstairs and like get out of here.
Yeah.
And so he runs and jumps over it, and then he's like, do I hear it coming after me? And the way that King writes from this kid's perspective, he does it beautifully all throughout the book. But in this scene, I've never been so scared of a fucking hose before in my life.
Right.
Like, the way that he's just like, I think I hear it coming after me. I think I need to move faster. I need to move faster. And
it's coming. It's on my heels.
You start feeling the adrenaline.
Right.
And it's so well done.
That's phenomenal.
So that's an honorable mention. And then my tie in the book for scariest scene is the scene where Danny goes into room 217. The description of the lady in the tub is absolutely mortifying.
Oh my God.
It is like, it's bad. It's really bad. Like, he talks about how she is a corpse and she is still like moving, but she's not alive, and like that sort of thing. And she looks so pallid and gray, and but she's super bloated, and it's just gnarly. Yeah. It is gross.
And especially when you're thinking about like a little kid experiencing it too.
Yeah. Right? It is gross.
I mean, and the lady that they have in the movie is also like pretty gross, but it's also like there's a bit of like funniness, that's humor that's associated too, like when she's cackling laughing at Jack, and he's like, because you don't see it from Danny's perspective, you see it from Jack's perspective. Yeah. And he's like slowly mortified, like stumbling out of the room because he's just been making out with this corpse, and she's like slowly following him and like, yeah. So it's like almost kind of like funny.
It is.
There's like a bit of like a laughter that's associated there.
Yeah. In the book, it's so gross. I was gonna like read part of that scene, and I honestly don't even want to make myself do it.
Absolutely not. That was the part you were gonna read?
That, and then the one that it's tied with.
Oh, okay.
So the one that it's tied with is when Danny is in Wendy's arms after the imaginary bar scene, or the bar scene where he is imagining Lloyd, who may or may not be his imagination.
Got it.
When Danny's in her arms after that whole situation, he starts to show symptoms of possession. Like, he is having like otherworldly sounds come out of him, and his like back is arched, and she's like, he's fully rigid in my hands. And it is a terrifying scene. Because God. It's like, you for a minute think that this kid is like dying in her arms, and in reality he's being possessed by this hotel. Got it. And has this full, I don't even know what to call it, spasmodic weird moment, and then he like just kind of like comes to, and I believe he like looks around and he's like, what's wrong? Yeah. Like that sort of thing, and has like no idea that any of this just happened. Yeah. That's another one of those ones that's so well written, and you connect with Danny on such a personal level at that point that when it's happening to him, it's just one of the most gut-wrenching moments where you're like, what is happening to this kid? Yeah. No, Danny, no. And it's terrifying, because I also don't know if possession behavior was really in a lot of books prior to this. I don't know if that was like a super common thing. Sure. But the way that he writes it, it's just visceral, and that's tied with the fucking gnarly lady in the tub. Okay. Yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to read before we get into, I think we got trivia and then our ratings left. Well, and then our what are you doing? Okay. So this is after Wendy realizes that, well, even if he's dangerous, I have to work with Jack to be able to get Danny any sort of help, that sort of thing. So she like leaves after locking them in their room, and Jack is in the gold bar or the gold lounge room.
Whatever. Yeah, the
ballroom,
gold, the
something
gold
like that.
Ballroom.
Gold
something.
ballroom.
Yeah.
He's in there, and it's after his Lloyd scene.
Yep.
And she walks in, and Jack says, "I never touched him," Jack said thickly. "I never have since the night I broke his arm, not even to spank him." "Jack, that doesn't matter now. What matters is..." "This matters," he shouted. He brought one fist crashing down on the bar, hard enough to make the empty peanut dishes jump. "It matters, goddammit, it matters." "Jack, we have to get him off the mountain. He's..." Danny began to stir in her arms. The slack, empty expression on his face had begun to break up like a thick mat of ice over some buried surface. His lips twisted as if at some weird taste. His eyes widened. His hands came up as if to cover them and then dropped back. Abruptly, he stiffened in her arms. His back arched into a bow, making Wendy stagger. And he suddenly began to shriek, mad sounds that escaped his straining throat in bolt after crazy echoing bolt. The sound seemed to fill the empty downstairs and come back at them like banshees. There might have been 100 Dannys, all screaming at once. "Jack!" she cried in terror. "Oh God, Jack, what's wrong with him?" He came off the stool, numb from the waist down, more frightened than he had ever been in his life. What hole had his son poked through and into? What dark nest? And what had been in there to sting?
Ooh,
like
that. I like the way that they ended it with the wasp nest.
Yeah. Ugh, it's so bad. And then that's when it leads to him just being like, she did it.
Because does he come out of that and say that she did it?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. The fucking fuck, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So now that I've talked your ear off about The Shining, do you want to get into ratings?
Trivia.
Oh, yeah, trivia.
So I thought this piece of trivia was really interesting because I don't remember bringing it up last time, but this movie was Danny Lloyd's very first. He played Danny, of course. And he was so young at the time that Stanley Kubrick really coveted him and really protected him from the uncut version of this film, much to the point that Danny thought that he was filming a drama film. And he didn't see the full uncut, unrated version of this film until he was 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably for his own good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's also funny to think of Kubrick protecting anybody from anything ever.
That's what I thought was really strange, right? It's like he didn't give a shit about Scatman Carruthers or Jack Nicholson.
He abused the ever-living fuck out of most of them.
Yeah. Especially Shelley
Duvall.
And yet he was so protective of Danny Lloyd. He didn't want him to experience any type of trauma. I guess in the scene where Wendy was holding him after Jack, when she's accusing Jack in that scene, she's just holding a dummy. Danny's not even in that scene at all. Any of the shots that they filmed beforehand were just cutaways of Danny's scenes. So I just thought that was super duper interesting. And that he never saw that film until he was almost a legal adult.
Good.
Yeah. Right?
Good. Because, this ruined Jack Nicholson ever doing another Stephen King movie.
Right.
He refused to do Misery because of his experience doing The Shining.
Absolutely.
And this traumatized the fuck out of Shelley Duvall.
Yep.
And so
it's
it
good
at
that
least
Danny,
protected.
Yeah. At least Danny was
wanted
spared.
a future in acting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he did. I don't think Danny ever acted in anything else, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
One piece of trivia that we brought up in the last time we recorded this, but that's very important to bring up, is that the props department for this movie, they initially made the iconic door that Jack breaks down with the axe. They made it easier to break down because they didn't want it to be difficult, right? But what they didn't know was that Jack Nicholson was a volunteer firefighter. And so he just went through those doors like they were made of paper. And so they just had to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, we just need a door, just a solid oak door.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that of okay, regular door. Regular door is not going to work. We need a more easily breakable door.
Baby door.
Wrong way. Other way. We need a harder door.
We need a harder door. We need a sturdy. I need a sturdy door.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, rock. Do we have a rock door?
Do we have a rock door?
Yeah.
A stone door? Do we have one of those? But I did think it was really fun to watch, knowing that trivia, to watch Jack break down that door. Because, like, it is fucking efficient.
Yeah.
Could you just imagine the props department just being like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
He just breaks it down in just like one hit. Just like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
Stronger
please,
doors.
nobody ever give him an axe.
Unless you're trapped in a building that's on fire.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, some of these I'm going to probably bring up just because we brought them up on the last one and it was important to do so. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall expressed open resentment against the reception of this film. They felt that critics and audiences credited Stanley Kubrick like solely for the film's success, and they weren't giving any like effort to the fact that like the cast, the crew, the production team, the strength of like Stephen King's original work. They also stated that the film was one of the hardest of their careers, and Nicholson considered Duvall's performance the most difficult role he's ever seen an actress take on.
Nice. And very much credit that was due.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that role had to have been, even taking away what she dealt with off camera, that role had to have been taxing.
Incredibly
to say
taxing.
the least.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like they created an actual hedge maze. They also created a scale model of the hedge maze.
Yes. And a scale model of the hotel too, right? So that they could do some of the exterior shots.
Like, yeah, you got to give credit to those set designers, like the production team. Kubrick was a big part of it, but
still a part, not the only reason, right? Like you have to even like give credit to the like marketing teams too, the production teams that actually like produced the film. But anyways, I thought this one was interesting. At the time of release, it was the policy of the MPAA to not allow the portrayal of blood in trailers that would be approved for all audiences. So in 1980, the concept of green band and red band trailers were being introduced. So bizarrely, the trailer consists entirely of the shot of blood pouring out of the elevator. That's like the whole trailer for the movie. So Stanley Kubrick convinced the board that blood flowing out of the elevator was actually rusty water. I also heard that he said it was motor oil, which is just interesting.
Interesting.
He's just like, oh, yeah, that's not blood. That's motor oil.
I know I had a fact about that, but it was something about how like that had to be done practically. So I think they ended up having to reshoot that scene like 6 times.
Right.
And it was literally, they had to refill the elevator full of blood.
Yeah.
6 times.
Full of fake blood, right?
Yeah.
And they had to like, it took like 6 days to make that whole scene. And like, yeah. And I think even in the end, he still wasn't happy with the final result.
Yeah.
Like he still would have done it more times to get it perfect. Yeah. This piece of trivia makes me angry, so I will include it. Stanley Kubrick originally wanted approximately 70 takes of the scene where Dick Halloran gets killed by Jack Torrance, but Jack Nicholson talked Kubrick into going easy on the 69-year-old Carruthers and stopped after 40. At one point during the filming, Carruthers became so exasperated with Kubrick's notorious compulsive style of excessive retakes that he broke down and cried, asking, "What do you want, Mr. Kubrick?"
Yeah,
What do you want? Like, I'm fucking 69 years old. How many times do I need to fall on this floor?
Yeah, I remember there was one scene, because I think this movie has the record for the most takes for a scene.
Absolutely.
And I remember there was one of them where it like broke 100 or something like that. And they were like, at one point, are you just going to call it good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think he wanted some of the most reshoots on the baseball bat scene up the stairway because he wanted Shelley to be in her most like exhausted, manic state. She would be the most terrified and like would be the most emotional in that moment, right?
Yeah.
If you just imagine like if you'd been doing the same scene over and over again for fucking hours, the difference that your body and then your acting would have that first hour versus like that fifth hour of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's almost as if like sometimes Stanley Kubrick did those reshoots not because he was looking for the perfect take. He was looking for the perfect like storm of situations, right? Like where everything is kind of working in sync, and maybe kind of thinking the like it's not just to try and act something, but it's to actually feel that emotion in the
Yeah.
moment, and that is the only way to really get the right take, to get the
Yeah.
right like scene.
And I mean, people do that in a much more pared down way now, but he was especially hard on Shelley and really drove her to her limits
Yeah.
throughout this entire movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And it makes me think of like the way that she was treated through this is the only other thing that I can think of, or the only other example I can think of in history that begins to compare is like the way that Judy Garland was treated filming The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like that was pure abuse.
Yeah, and I mean, Judy Garland was definitely alive during a time where like that type of treatment of women was just like the norm. It was just like so normalized, and just like kind of came with the territory. And in the 1980s, it wasn't that much different. It was different, but it wasn't that much different.
Yeah.
So it definitely still flew under the radar a lot, because I know that Stanley not only was like an asshole to Shelley on camera, but also like behind the scenes encouraged other people to bully her so that she would truly feel alone at all times, and would never really get a break from that job,
Yeah.
right? Because like as an actor, you should still be able to like turn your brain off and go home at the end of the day. You shouldn't be feeling that same, especially for something like a horror movie.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be feeling that same tension the entire time that you're filming it.
And you think about when we covered Misery,
Right.
the director of Misery and James Caan told Kathy Bates, you need to leave this character here.
Yes.
You need to go home and leave this character on set.
Yeah. Because it'll destroy you
Because,
otherwise.
Yeah, it
It's-
will destroy
yeah.
you. And Kubrick was doing the exact opposite, where he was like, you are this character. Your entire life is this character. You need to feel isolated. You need to feel alone. And we're gonna put you at your limits.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what Shelley was paid for this movie.
Oh my God.
I don't even
I kind
know.
of want to know.
You could look it up if
I'll
you want
look it
to.
up while you do some more trivia.
I'll see. So I was going to put in Shelley Duvall suffered from nervous exhaustion throughout the filming. This included physical illness and hair loss. I'm always just like, there are so many pieces of trivia on IMDb for this movie, so I'm just kind of like briefly reading them and just throwing out the ones that actually sound interesting. So I might miss some, but if you actually want to read them all, there's this really great website you can go on. I did really like this one. So there were so many changes to the script during shooting. A scene change was almost made every single day, that Jack Nicholson claimed that he stopped reading it entirely. He would only read the new pages that were given to him every day. He also said that eventually, when presented with a revised scene, he would throw it in the trash, knowing that another one was coming anyways.
Imagine that being like, I just can't prepare. I'm actually just going to walk in
just
and
like-
do the day.
Fuck it.
Yep.
What is even the point? I did like this when I brought this one up on the last episode, that Angelica Houston lived with Jack Nicholson during the time of the shooting. She recalled that due to the long hours on the set and Stanley Kubrick's trademark style of repetitive takes, Nicholson would often return from a day's shooting. He would walk straight to bed, collapse onto it, and would immediately fall asleep.
As a little thing, so just because I wanted to compare the two also,
Yes.
Jack Nicholson earned $1.3 million for The Shining. Shelley Duvall, it doesn't say an exact number.
What?
It says that she said that she didn't receive much compensation for her work. She was paid, quote, scale plus 10%. So I don't even know what that ends up being.
Oh my God.
Yep. Her net worth was estimated to be around $500,000 at one point, but it's unknown what she actually made. And it's unknown what her net worth was at her time of death, too.
That's fucking That's infuriating.
Yeah.
That is so disgusting.
That is actually the worst answer.
It is the worst answer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it is the worst answer. You're absolutely right. Wow. Okay, then. Jack Nicholson claimed that the scene where Jack snaps at Wendy for interrupting his writing was the most difficult for him, as he was a writer himself and had gotten into similar arguments with his girlfriend. Being a method actor, he drew on his memories of those arguments and added the line, "Or if you come in here and you don't hear me typing, it means I'm in here and I'm working." Interesting.
Yeah.
So that was ad-libbed. That is definitely one of my kind of it's an honorable mention for a scariest scene too. It's just the like vitriol that he speaks to her in that moment, where it's like, yes, I understand that this is a distraction, right? And it's taking you away from like your concentration and like your working, but like this is your wife and the mother of your child. Like there are other ways that you could express yourself without it being so hateful.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what I just really like about it. It's just like a very, very clear from the get-go. It's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Not, I guess, necessarily like trivia or anything. But shouts out to Stephen King for using the cunt word in the book. 1977/78. Mm-hmm. He's throwing the cunt word in the book. Yeah.
Can't do that today.
Nope. Unless you're gay. And then it's serving cunt. It's not.
I'm not really seeing anything else. A lot of these are like really long and I don't want to read them. There's just so fucking many of them.
There's
yeah.
The movie has so many like Easter eggs and all that
Sure.
kind of stuff that there's literally a book written on the movie, and then there's another book that's written comparing the movie and the book.
Yeah, and yeah, there's like documentaries and stuff too. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I do have to bring this up because I thought this was funny. I wrote this down in my notes, but like every time you see Wendy running around with a knife in her hand, every time that scene would happen, like those scenes would happen, I would just be like, "Sharp safety, bitch! What the fuck are you doing? Running like with the like knife in your hand like this? Like you were just asking to stab yourself in the face right now."
One that I'll just throw in there is and it's mostly just because it's local to us. So the inspiration for The Shining came from Stephen King stayed at the Stanley Hotel in Boulder, Colorado, and he just kind of had this thought of like, oh, what about when everything shuts down if people were in here and it was haunted?
Yes, he and his wife stayed there on October 30th, the day before they were set to close. And so they were the only two people that were staying in the hotel.
Exactly.
And so it was like he was trying to imagine like how creepy would it be to like be in this hotel just by myself.
Yeah. And so the actual inspiration is the Stanley Hotel. The outside shots are of Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood.
Yes.
The inside shots are totally fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so cool to think that like, and this is probably a little bit personal to me,
Sure.
like so cool to think that like my favorite horror book somehow tangentially got tied to Mount Hood.
Yeah.
Where I live.
Comes back to like where you currently reside.
Yeah.
And like back in a place that is so familiar. And I'm glad that you brought that up because the last piece of trivia that I thought I would add just for time's sake relates to this. It's the scene of Halloran approaching the hotel in the Snowcat was shot in real snow approaching the real Timberline Hotel in Oregon.
Hell yeah. Timberline, for anybody that hasn't been there, Timberline is really fucking pretty. The view up there is gorgeous. In the wintertime, it gets entirely buried in snow.
Yep.
It's so cool.
It's fucking gorgeous. And it's really cool to see, honestly, in the summertime. Like if you're going to Mount Hood or Trillium or you're going to Bend or whatever, like still seeing the Timberline and being like, hey, it's The Shining.
It's also like oddly close to the summit of Mount Hood. So you can go up and go to it and it's like, oh shit, the top's right there.
Oh fuck, it's like, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some cute little ponds and lakes around there too.
The last little trivia that I'm going to throw in, and it's just because I have a giant print of this picture. At the end, when they show the picture of Jack with everybody in the gold ballroom, the pose that he's doing is the same pose that is depicted in figures of Baphomet. So it's supposed to be Kubrick's tie to Satanism and satanic roots in the hotel.
Oh, interesting. I was wondering what that was for. I was, because the theories that I was listening to were talking about it being like a symbol of resurrection, and the fact that like Jack had always been the caretaker at the hotel. Mm-hmm. But I also can see the like ties to satanic worship, and just in terms of like it be like it reminds me of like just a place where the layer between our world and another world is thin, right? And so it's a place where more supernatural things happen as a result.
Yeah. I'm excited for when we cover, inevitably, at some point, Dr. Sleep, because we're going to be pulling more of this into it. There's going to be that. There's going to be so much Danny.
And like Dark Tower.
And Dark Tower,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And if we're being honest, just talking about, like, thinnings of realities and whatnot, like, I've got a couple of other shows we could really dive into. Like Stranger Things and Fringe. Like, both of those have, like, good.
And I've only watched the first season of Stranger Things, so...
Well, the last one's about to come out.
Well, sounds like we got our work cut out for us.
We got shit to do. All right, so let's do our rating. What will your weapon be?
Fuck, that's so hard.
I'm gonna go with hypothermia.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Hypothermic Jacks.
Okay. I'll go with...
I think you know which one you're gonna do.
I have like two that I'm having a really hard time deciding.
What are they?
So the first one is a 70-foot fall because because one of the stories that Jack finds in the scrapbook is they resurrected the hotel as like a riding retreat for like youth. I think it's supposed to be primarily youth and then like younger college students.
Got it.
And they only had it open for like a day before somebody jumped off the balcony in their room and killed themselves.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like a 70-foot fall is an option.
Oh, okay.
And then
it's like a 1408 situation. All right then.
Yeah. And then I would say the second one for me is...
I figured you picked the boiler.
I want to. Yeah, I'm going to pick the boiler. I was trying to think of something a little more creative. But yeah, it's the boiler.
It's book specific at least.
It is book specific for sure. So I'll just get into it. For quality, for the book, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm specifically doing the movie.
The book is so well done. Even if there's like little errors that you run into or anything like that, it makes up for it.
Yeah.
So 5 out of 5, really pissed off boilers. And then for scariness, it's a different style of horror, I feel like, than what we're used to now.
Sure.
It's not like jump scare based or anything like that. It's very atmospheric.
It's like tension building.
Yeah. It's tension building. So I'm going to say for the book, I'm going to give it like a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, okay.
It does it really well. The movie, I'm going to give it like a 3.5 out of 5, something like that.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily super scary. It does get in your head, but I don't think it's necessarily super scary. And then for rereadability, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. I've read this book more than I've read any other book. And then for rewatchability, I'll give it... I've watched it a ton too. So, and I think it is something that you have to watch it at least twice, because the first time you watch it, you're going to get the story. The second time you watch it, you're going to start to see the weird details that Kubrick added in there.
Absolutely.
So I'll give it a 3 out of 5 for rewatchability.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it probably averages out to somewhere around like 4 pissed off boilers.
I'm not doing averages. I don't know math that good. So I'm doing hypothermia as my weapon of choice because
I just picture Jack's face with
just frozen.
Exactly that.
So for quality, I'm gonna give it like for being honest. I only gave it about like a 3.8 because it is really well shot, but I feel like when it comes to quality, like I wanted more character development in this one, and I really felt like there wasn't any. There were these three kind of main characters that had like, it's like their character name, and then they have like three adjectives underneath their name, and like that's who they are as a character. It's like anxious, mother, smoker, child, likes toys, right? Like that's just, they didn't really feel like they were fully fleshed out. I felt like they were trying to do way too much with this movie, and because it's like 2.5 hours, so there's just a lot of content that's in it.
That does, I'm gonna factor that in and lower mine by a little bit too, because it is a 2.5 hour long movie with no character development.
Yeah, it really isn't. It really isn't. And I just feel like for a good portion of it, it's supposed to build this arc of like this father that hates his family and then descends into madness and goes to kill them. But like he hated his family to begin with. So I just really feel like a lot of that didn't need to be there. It could have been shorter. Mm-hmm. If he hated his family from the get-go, why did we have this like 5-month long buildup?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So that's why I gave it more of like a 3.8. For scariness, I recognize that like it had some scary scenes in it, but kind of as a whole, I can see it more from a dramatic perspective. So I gave it more of like three hypothermias out of 5.
How many hypothermias do you have? 3.
3. I have 3 hypothermias. And then for rewatchability, I did give this one a bit higher one because I do agree with you. Like the first time I watched this, I was really like, I knew the story, but I was really watching it for the like artwork and for the storyline. And the second time that I watched it, I had a lot of fun noticing some of like kind of just the details in the background, also noticing some of the details in like the dialogue that was going back and forth with some of the characters, as well as some of the like subtle body language moments where like you don't have any dialogue in a scene, but you're very much still understanding what's going on. So I gave it a 4.5 hypothermias out of 5.
Nice. Yeah.
It's solid. It's a really solid movie.
It is solid.
I feel like if you have not watched it, you should watch it. Just like The Misery or Halloween, like just any of these movies that you might have skipped on in the past because you felt like there wasn't anything more to discover from it.
Yeah.
And even though we both have very strong feelings about the director and about his the way he like does his art, it still is something that like it stands the test of time. There are now movies that are made to this day that are still paying tribute to The Shining. So it's always going to be a mainstay in the genre.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think because I love the book so much, it's easy for me to give the movie a little extra.
Yeah, like give it, give it some leeway, give it some credit.
And truly, The Shining is a staple in horror, and definitely everybody should watch it. I'm also going to say everybody should read it.
Everybody should definitely read it.
Like, read it, then watch it.
Yes.
Because it actually doesn't matter what order.
It doesn't matter the order,
no.
but you will enjoy it more. Like, I'm sure I will enjoy it more as like a story when I read the book.
Yeah.
Because the movie on its own, it's not that it sucks. It's just I don't know. It doesn't tell as compelling of a story. Because I feel like the character that you're following, I even like stories where like the main dude is a bad guy.
Yeah.
I like some stories like that. But those stories still have something else associated with them rather than the dude just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm trying to think of a good example just off the top of my brain. And I'm not thinking of one at this very moment.
Yeah.
But like there is a good way to tell a story with like a damaged protagonist or with an antagonist that is evil, but like you understand why he's evil, or you can even give him credit for it. And in this film, I just don't feel like that worked on its own.
No, I don't think it did either. I think there is a little bit too much of a detachment from the book and from what you need to know about these people.
Yeah.
For it to really hit home.
Yeah, for it to really, I don't know, for it to be a more compelling story.
Yeah,
And not just a story about a psychopath.
And that's on Kubrick.
Yeah. If that's the story he wanted to tell, right? Maybe he wanted to tell Jack as this like non-sympathetic, typical, like kind of just abusive father and husband, maybe potentially pedophile. We don't know, but like that whole scene with Wendy when she saw the bear and the servicing the guy in the room, that was just there for no reason. Like, we don't have any idea why. Like, it just seemed very random. Like, unless you're just chalking it up to like a 1408 situation where it's just another victim in the hotel that you're just seeing in this moment. It's just opportunist time to show you, but that's just a random aside.
Which there's no context to a lot of the stuff that you see in The Shining.
Right. And that's the only scene that I'm really thinking of right now that like is so disjointed. Like everything else, like all of the ghosts that Jack sees, they kind of relate to like a party that he's attending or to like other duties that he has to the hotel, right? Danny seeing spirits, like the twins and all of that makes sense because like he's young and not only would he not be believed, but like could make sense of like he shines, so like he might be more susceptible to seeing ghosts. And then for at least the girls, it's like very much like victims of the hotel that he's seeing. But I still don't understand like who are these two characters that Wendy sees? How are they related to the rest of the story? Was it just supposed to be a once-off so that you're just seeing something that's shocking, and that's the whole reason why, or did it have a bigger meaning to it?
Yeah.
But holy shit, we could get into a big rabbit hole about that.
Oh, for real. Yeah, because in the book it tells you. Because there's also a whole ass story behind the lady in the tub that I don't think they go over at all in the movie.
No. It's just the lady in 237. Like they don't explain who she is or where she came from, because Wendy never sees her, and Jack pretends like she never existed. So
maybe I'll add it in. Maybe I'll be like, everybody go read it.
Dude, I mean, yeah. Okay, so closing the book on The Shining.
Yes.
What do you...
For the love of God, let's close the book on The Shining. I finally got it out of my head.
You're like, finally?
Now I can wait another year before I read it again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then what are you up to? What have you been up to for the last week and a half since I've seen you? We had a little bit of time. I got sick, so...
Yeah, we had to do a little bit of a break because Karina got sick, and then I was about to go on vacation. So even if you were feeling up to it, I was like, we shouldn't do it.
No, I didn't want to do it. I just didn't want you to get sick right before leaving. Like, no.
Yeah.
No thanks.
So, yeah, I appreciate that you were so willing to just be like, yeah, let's just shelf it.
Oh my God, yeah.
I guess, it's rounding out, getting to the end of the dry month. So we've been really good about trying to find things to do that occupy our time and enrich us.
Yeah.
Since we're not just like killing time with drinking.
Yep.
Even though with the last week, drinking through this would have been so good. Just raw dogging our way through impending fascist takeover. But
just the funnies.
Just the lighthearted
daily
life. But Nick and I, over the holidays, had decided that we weren't going to buy Christmas presents for one another. We were just going to go on a trip instead.
Yeah.
So last weekend we went on a trip, and initially we were going to go to Victoria, but there was a little bit of an issue with the ferry situation. So we had to make a last minute scramble to find somewhere else.
Like adjustment. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we ended up driving up, spending the day in Seattle, and then stopping at an Airbnb in Bellingham. Spent some time in Bellingham, went to Friday Harbor out in the San Juans, and then also went up to Vancouver, BC. And it was just really fun to get away from home for a little bit. And actually, like, I had a total of 5 days off work with having the long weekend and taking Friday and Tuesday off.
That's so nice.
And it was nice to just like be able to relax a little bit. And like we live with my mom, and mom's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it was nice to have some time just the two of us and
Have your own like space. Like
yeah.
Airbnb space is nice because
Yeah.
it's like a hotel, but not.
Yeah.
It also kind of feels like home a little bit.
Exactly. It's like a hotel, but it feels more cozy. And like I even like left Lila with mom, so it was nice to just like not have anything to worry about other than just enjoying time.
Yeah.
And so that's been most of what I've been up to, other than I've literally consumed like nothing but the Shining content.
And then like getting back to work and
yeah, like it's all work and no play.
Makes Clark a dull boy.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get this
Just,
chapter closed
put it
and
down.
open up the light article of it.
Maybe you give yourself a bit of a break. Just a smidgy one.
Yeah, for my own mental health.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun rabbit hole to go down, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like that's, for the most part, I don't think I'm missing anything. I think that's been my life.
What you got going on?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Well, I was sick for that week, so I didn't work a whole lot. I stayed at home. I worked more than I probably should have, but I did take some days off.
Yeah, there was one day you were telling me that you were still feeling like trash, and you were like, I finished this dog, and then I'm like, girl, why are you feling like trash and still grooming dogs?
I know. Somebody's got to pay the bills. No, it was fine though. I am glad that I got my illness out of the way for the year now. So now hopefully we won't have any more of that. And then other than that, like, I went rock climbing a few days in a row. So my body's really sore today, especially like from my knees just above my hip joints are really sore. But I was working on a couple of fun like 511s yesterday that are, they were really challenging. But I'm working on this new part of my climbing where I'm trying not to take any takes where like I just ask for slack in the rope. I'm trying really hard to just fall, to just like get to a spot where I know I'm taxed out and I don't know if I'm going to make the next move, but just going for it anyways, because especially on top rope, the falls are just so easy to do. And it'll help my body just get better at doing that with lead climbing.
Yeah, I like that approach too, because that's in a frightening way that's going to start to chip away at the fear of just like not quite making it.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So yeah, I'm just really excited to like get back into rock climbing now that I'm feeling better. Like I have a membership now, so I'm trying to go at least once a week, if not twice a week. And I just have gotten myself like all new gear too. Like I bought myself a new harness and I bought myself a new chalk bag, and now Harrison bought himself a chalk bag, so we're going to go more often. And the last other thing I'll bring up, because I just got introduced to it last night, and it's really fun. But, I got two things. But Harrison introduced me to a new fun little game that we've been trading back and forth. It's called Thronefall.
Ooh.
And you're just a little king on a horse, and you have a little kingdom, and every night people come and they try and raid you, and you kill them. And it's like a game where like you slowly gain more coins, and you can either use them to like build your economy or build your military. But you have like, I think 7 or 8 raids for the entire level. And if you get through all of them, like you win. And so it's just kind of like you're trying to get the highest score. You're trying to build the biggest civilization. You're trying to withstand all of these different waves of enemies. So it's kind of easy and cute, and the mechanics are really fun, and I just kind of liked it. I don't typically like those kinds of, I don't know what they're called, like a castle management or like even like a real-time strategy type game, but I found this one to be very fun. It's just kind of fun to just and then it's got like just a bunch of different levels and like side quests that you can do on top of just this generic like defend your kingdom game.
Fun.
Yeah. And then we've been doing a lot of leather crafting. So we just finished like 4 collars. So we made collars for our property dogs, Echo's like brother and sister, and then her mom, and then one for her cousin. And then I'm making my brother like a mason jar holder for his birthday because he asked me to. So I'm working on a prototype for that right now. And then I've made a set of coasters to go with the mason jar holder.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, we're in our leatherworking era right now. And
Nice.
it's super cool.
And I love that this is going to come out after Brian's birthday. So like,
No spoilers necessary.
no spoilers at all.
I know. That's kind of what I love about
Yeah.
our podcast is I never have to worry about like spoiling anything for anybody because it's
Oh.
going to be weeks before they actually listen to it.
Yeah, this one's coming out on March 6th. So, yeah. I want to add 3 things I'm excited about.
Okay.
One, I am really excited to cover your favorite book. I know I've said it a couple times, but like
I'm gonna have to read
it's
it.
going to be so fucking cool to like hear you nerd out about something the way that I nerd out about this. Like it's going to be tight. I'm so stoked. And then second is Nick and I are going to start doing we went down a rabbit hole and he has a degree in fine art, so he already knew a lot about this, but we went down a rabbit hole of different like forms of printing. And so he taught me about like lithography and wood block stamping and like that sort of stuff. And so we're actually going to start carving stamps. And like I had an idea to like he could crochet a blanket and then we could make a really big stamp and we could like use fabric dye and stamp a pattern into the blanket. And like that would be really fun.
Oh my gosh, that would be cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna start doing that together, and I like more like tactile things like that. So I'm
Yes.
excited to carve, and it's
Oh,
gonna be really fun.
Yeah, you should look up. There's an artist that I watch who makes stamps. She carves them out of rubber erasers, like out of those pink erasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think those are super cool because when you make that artwork, you have to like think about your art piece like negatively.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like filling it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think that sounds so cool.
It's gonna be so much fun.
Plus, I know somebody from school who they made a business out of doing that.
Really?
Doing wood block prints because they
Yeah.
just have a clothing line basically, right? Where they just like wood block print on t-shirts or bandanas or pants or whatever. And it's just like ferns and like mushrooms and like all sorts of these really cute designs, right?
Oh my God, that'd be so much fun.
And it's easy too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because I was thinking like Nick and I talked about how we're gonna like put it up on the projector and then like draw it on the stamp and then we can just carve everything out. So we could do
Yeah.
pretty intricate shit because we're
Yeah.
just gonna project it on instead of having to hand draw it.
That would be so cool. That's so
Yeah.
smart too. I
it's
love
gonna
that.
be so much fun.
Dude, if you ever want to like print some bandanas and put them up in here.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, what's your third thing?
last thing is I think Harrison and I actually have a backpacking plan
Yes, he told
on the
me.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
And I'm really stoked about it. That's gonna be fun.
cool. Where are you guys going?
The Blackberry Trail, it's outside of the Dalles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Please take pictures.
Absolutely.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, the snakes are going to be hella hibernating. Well, brumating
Mm-hmm.
at that point. And so we don't got to worry about the rattlers. There's not going to really be any animals. It's going to be cold.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
it's
He has a
gonna be
lot
nice.
of cold gear. It's good to like test it out.
Sick. It's going to be a good time.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya, suckers.
It's always spooky.